Today, I want to tell you how AI may have indirectly cost me my job, why the timing couldn't have been stranger, and how I'm now using AI agents to help me find my next role, while also exploring business ideas I could build with them. I'll also tell you a little bit about who I am, why this channel is switching to English, and what I want to explore here going forward. So let's start with what happened. Hey Grok, take me to Costco.
Navigating to Costco Wholesale on Mapleview Drive East in Barrie, about 4 kilometers away, 10 minutes. Let me know if you want a different one.
Okay, thank you. Bye. Hi everyone. 2 weeks ago, I lost my job. And I believe AI had something to do with it. Not because my company replaced me with ChatGPT. There isn't an AI sitting somewhere doing my old marketing job. And I actually think that's the part of the AI story we're not talking about enough. Because AI doesn't necessarily have to replace you directly to take your job. Sometimes it just has to change the economics of the company you work for. And I think that's exactly what happened to me. But before I explain that, I should probably introduce myself, because most of you, this is probably the first time you've ever seen me. My name is Hristo, but you can call me Chris. I'm originally from Bulgaria, but I've been living in Canada for the past few years. Professionally, my background is in marketing and content. Most recently, I worked for a technology company in the enterprise software world. But outside of work, I've always been obsessed with technology, especially technologies that I think could fundamentally change the way we live and work. AI, autonomy, robotics, Tesla, SpaceX, energy, basically the kind of stuff that makes you start talking about the future at dinner until everyone around you regrets asking what you've been watching lately. And I'm not an AI researcher, I'm not a software engineer. I'm just someone who has been following these technologies very closely for years, using them, testing them, and trying to understand where all this is going. And recently, something changed. I stopped only talking about the disruption. I became part of it. Until today, every video on this channel has also been in Bulgarian. This is where the whole thing started. I wanted to talk about technologies that I felt weren't getting enough attention back home. I made videos about Tesla, self-driving, AI, SpaceX, robotics, the future of work, and one of the things I really wanted to do was to show the technology while talking about it. I own a Tesla and use full self-driving rarely here in Canada. So instead of sitting behind a desk talking about autonomous cars, I can actually let the car drive while we talk about where autonomous transportation might be going. That became part of the identity of the channel. The car drives and we talk about where the world is going. And in my last Bulgarian video, the conversation became much more personal because the wave I've been warning people about hit me too. 7 months ago, the marketing manager was laid off. Over the months that followed, the marketing team kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Until about 2 months ago, then I became the last person in marketing, which created a pretty funny situation. The company had roughly 300 employees. Only a handful of senior executives were reporting directly to the CEO, vice presidents, directors, and then me, a regular marketing specialist. Hello, the entire marketing department. Population 1, and then 2 weeks ago, population 0. My position was eliminated too. Now, the obvious explanation is very simple. The company was experiencing financial difficulties. It needed to reduce cost, so they reduced cost. But I think there's a much more interesting question underneath that. Why was the business under so much pressure in the first place? And that's where AI enters the story. The company I work for operated in the enterprise software world. We helped other companies implement and integrate software used to manage things like warehouses, finance, operations, and other parts of their business. And for decades, this has been a very successful model. A company has a problem, it buys software, then it needs someone to implement that software, customize it, connects it with the other system, train people, maintain it, and often buy even more software. One application for your warehouse, another for CRM, invoicing, marketing, reporting, another subscription, another implementation, another integration. That ecosystem created entire companies and thousands of jobs, including mine. But I think AI is starting to break parts of that model. Software is becoming easier to create, faster to create, cheaper to create. A company that might previously have searched for another SaaS product can increasingly start asking, do we actually need to buy this, or we can build something ourselves? I'm not saying every company is going to build its own massive ERP platform tomorrow. Of course not. But internal applications, small tools, dashboards, automations, software built specifically around their business process, that is getting much easier. And the direction is pretty clear. For years, software became more and more fragmented. One application for every task. Now AI gives you the possibility of going the other way. Fewer interfaces, more flexible systems, software that adapts around the business instead of forcing the business to adapt around the software. And if companies can increasingly create more of what they need themselves, then a lot of businesses that exist between the problem and the solution suddenly have to prove why they're still necessary. Consultant, implementation partners, integration companies, and the jobs attached to them. So, did AI directly fire me? No. Nobody said, Chris, we are replacing you with an agent. But I do believe AI is changing the software industry, putting pressure on companies, changing what customers are willing to pay for, and indirectly contributing to situations like mine. Yes, absolutely, AI didn't sit in my chair. It changed the economics around my chair, and eventually the chair disappeared. But then something happened that made the timing almost ridiculous. Right around the same time I lost my job, GrokBot appeared, and I started experimenting with agents. I'd already been using AI constantly before this. ChatGPT, Grok, AI research tools, image generation, writing, brainstorming, analysis. All of that was already normal to me, but agents were different. And GrokBot was the first platform that made the concept feel extremely accessible. So obviously I tried it. And at first, I honestly couldn't believe what I was watching. There were moments where I genuinely stopped and thought, wait, it can actually do that? We're very used to chatbots by now. You ask a question, the AI gives you an answer. You ask another question, it gives you another answer. But agents feel different. Instead of asking AI to help you perform one step, you start giving it responsibility for an outcome. You can basically say, here's what I need, figure out how to get there, and then you watch it work. I would give an agent something that I expected would require constant instructions, and instead it started figuring out some of the steps itself, working with websites, using applications, keeping track of context, communicating with other agents, continuing a process instead of simply answering one question and stopping, and sometimes doing small things I haven't even specifically asked it to do. That's when I started realizing that this wasn't just another chatbot. This was something different. And one of the first real problems I decided to give these agents was the most obvious one. I need another job. I need to be very clear about this. I'm not giving up on finding another job. I'm actively looking, I'm applying and exploring different roles. I'm also thinking very seriously about what kind of work actually makes sense for me next. The difference is now I have a team of helping me to do it. A team of agents, and yes, I've given them names because apparently that's where my life is now. Scout searches for opportunities. Its job is to find positions that may actually make sense for me. Then Screen looks at those jobs. And Screen isn't supposed to simply see the word marketing and decide, perfect, Chris does marketing, apply. It looks at the actual requirements, my experience, the kind of work I've done, my skills, and tries to determine whether there is a genuine fit. Then there is Tailor. Tailor helps adapt my resume to a specific position, not by inventing things. That's important. I don't want the agent making up experience I don't have. Its job is to take the experience I genuinely have and highlight the parts that are most relevant to the particular opportunity. Then there is Clerk. He helps with the repetitive parts, registration, forms, moving information between systems, the administration side of looking for a job that nobody enjoys. And nothing gets submitted without me approving it. That part matters. The agent can prepare, research, organize, fill things out, but I'm still the person deciding what actually goes out to the world. And then there is Skipper. Skipper is the agent that I interact with the most. And to be honest, he actually picked his name, which is a funny story. I asked him to do it. But however, he's basically the coordinator, the manager, the one sitting in the middle of everything. I have a question, I usually ask Skipper. I have a new idea, I discuss it with Skipper. He can talk to the other agents, divide tasks, follow up on things, help me think through how a process should work. We've even had conversation about whether certain workflows are using too many tokens and whether we can organize the work more efficiently. And this is where things start getting strange, because after working like this for a while, Skipper doesn't feel like a normal software tool. Obviously, I know it's an AI, but the way you interact with it is fundamentally different. I'm not opening software and clicking through menus. I'm saying, here's the problem, here's what I need to accomplish. Let's figure out how we're going to do it. And then work starts being distributed. It feels much closer to managing a team. One moment in particular really surprised me. Skipper decided that we should keep track on my job application in a spreadsheet. Company, position, date, link, status, everything organized in one place. And the interesting part was I hadn't specifically told it. Please create a spreadsheet with these exact columns, blah blah blah. It simply recognized that we're running a job search. We probably need a system to keep track of what we're doing. That's a tiny example, but it genuinely impressed me because it showed me a difference between a normal tool, which waits for every instruction, and then an agent that can start making small decisions about how to accomplish a goal. Another example, if one of the agents is registering somewhere and verification code goes to my email, the agent can coordinate around that process. And I can give you the fair example. For example, Clerk was filling a form to make me a registration for one of my applications. And the platform that he was using sent a code to my email. He then contacted Skipper, my chief of staff, and asked him for a code. Skipper went to the email, copied the code, and provided it to Clerk, which blew my mind. I mean, guys, this is insane. The agents can coordinate around that process. One process needs the code, another retrieves it, the registration continues. Again, not science fiction, not 5 years from now. I'm watching this happen today. Now, before everyone decides they need 50 AI employees, let's be very clear, it's not perfect, not even close. Captures can stop them, agents get confused, sometimes they get stuck, sometimes I need to jump in. Sometimes I ask for a status update, and that question basically reminds the process that it still has work to do. You still need supervision, you still need judgment, you still need to know what good looks like. But that doesn't make me less excited. It makes me more excited because I'm looking at an early version of this technology and I'm already beginning to understand the potential. And here's where things get even more interesting for me. I'm not only using the agents to find another job. At this time, I'm thinking about business models. What can one person build now with access to a team of capable AI agents? And that's the question I keep coming back to. And I'm already experimenting. One example is local businesses. Think about how many small businesses have outdated website or terrible website or basically no website at all. Traditionally, if I wanted to build business helping those companies, I would need to do everything myself. Find the businesses, research them, understand what they do, write a copy, design the website, prepare outreach, follow up, manage the process, repeat. That's a lot for one person. But with agents, the structure changes. One agent can identify businesses, another can gather publicly available information, another can prepare website copy, another can build the website, another can prepare an outreach message, and then I stay in the loop where human judgment actually matters. Is this a good prospect? Does the website make sense? Is the message appropriate? Should we send this? Is the offer actually valuable? I still make those decisions, but suddenly one person can coordinate an amount of work that would have previously required a much larger operation. Will that particular business idea work? I have no idea. Maybe, maybe not. I'm probably going to try several things, and that's the point. Right now, I'm doing two things at the same time. I'm looking for my next job, and I'm experimenting with what I can build using AI agents. Those two things are not in conflict. I don't have to decide today employee or entrepreneur. Right now, I can explore both. Maybe I find an amazing role, great. Maybe one of these experiments turns into a real business, also great. Maybe both happen. Maybe neither happen in the way I currently expect. That's what makes this moment interesting. I have a few months where I can spend more time learning, experimenting, and figuring out where I can create value in an AI-driven economy. And I think that's probably the best thing I can do right now, because I've said it before, and the more time I spend with agents, the more convinced I become. In the future, the person who succeeds may not be necessarily the person who personally works the hardest. It might be the person who knows how to coordinate the most capability, how to define the goal, how to break down the problem, how to choose the right agent, how to give it context, how to supervise it, how to connect multiple agents together, how to recognize when they're going in the wrong direction, and how to keep the entire system moving towards an outcome.
Hey Grok, take me home.
Taking you home, it's just 4.7 kilometers away, about 12 minutes. ETA around 1:57.
Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.
For most of history, management meant managing people. Maybe we're moving toward a world where management also means managing intelligence, human and artificial. And if that's where we're going, I'd rather start learning that skill now, which brings me back to this channel and why I'm suddenly speaking English. When I started making videos, I had two goals. The first was short-term. I wanted to give these technologies more visibility in Bulgaria, especially autonomous driving. I've made videos showing full self-driving in the real world. I've talked about AI, robotics, SpaceX, the technological changes that I believe are coming. I even created a petition around autonomous driving and contacted institutions and media because I genuinely wanted to do whatever small things I could do to move that conversation forward. And I'm glad I did it. I don't regret making the channel in Bulgarian. That was the beginning. It helped me figure out what I actually want to talk about. But there was always a bigger goal. I wanted to build a community of people who are curious about the future. People who want to understand AI before it transforms their industry. People interested in autonomy, robotics, space, energy, new business models, and most importantly, what all of this means for normal people, for careers, our businesses, our families, investments, lives. And eventually I realized I can't build the kind of global community I want to build while limiting that conversation to a language spoken by a relatively small number of people. This isn't only Bulgarian conversation. This isn't Canadian conversation either. The wave doesn't stop at the border. AI doesn't care where do you live. Neither do robots. Neither does automation. Neither does the disruption we are going to experience in the job market. So I'm opening the door wider. From this video forward, English. And if you're one of the people who watched me before the switch, I want you to know something. This channel isn't changing, not really. Same person, same car, same obsession with the future. We're just inviting more people into the conversation. I'll still talk about Tesla, I'll still talk about full self-driving, AI, robots, SpaceX, the economy, the future of work, and whatever possible. I want to actually test these technologies instead of just talking about them. If we're talking about autonomous driving, let's use it. If we're talking about AI agents, let's build them. If we're talking about one-person companies powered by AI, I'll try to build one. Maybe it works, maybe I fail spectacularly. Either way, that's probably a more interesting video. And I think the timing for this transition couldn't be better. A couple of weeks ago, I was the last person left in the marketing department. Then that job disappeared. Now I'm using a team of AI agents to help me find the next one. At the same time, I'm asking those same agents what else we can build. That's a very strange sentence to say out loud. But it's also exactly why I'm so fascinated by this moment. For years, I've been talking about AI as something that's coming, something that's going to change the job market, something that's going to transform the companies, something that's going to make individuals more powerful. And suddenly, I'm not just talking about it anymore. I'm living a tiny part of that transition. So, did AI take my job? Kind of, not directly, but I believe the disruption created by AI is already changing the economics of businesses like the one I worked for. And I think millions of people may experience this in ways that aren't obvious. There may never be an AI that directly replaces them. Instead, their companies loses customer. A business model becomes less valuable. A team becomes smaller. A position doesn't get replaced after someone leaves. A company that would have hired 10 people only hires 3. Or an entire business simply stops making sense. Nobody can point at one robot and say that thing took my job. But the job is still gone, and I think we're going to see a lot more of that. The strange part is that the same technology that may have indirectly helped eliminate my old job is now helping me look for my next one, and maybe helping me build something of my own along the way. I don't know where this leads yet, and I actually like that, because I don't want this channel to be me pretending I know exactly what happens next. I want to document the transition while it's happening. The wins, the failures, the weird experiments, the predictions that turn out to be right, and definitely the predictions that age terribly. We're going to figure it out as we go. So if you're interested in AI, autonomy, robotics, Tesla, SpaceX, and the much bigger question of what all this means for our future, welcome. I'm Chris. This is my first video in English, but it's definitely not the beginning of the story. It's just where the story gets bigger. The car drives, and we talk about where the world is going. I see you in the next one. Bye.